What's making North Korea happy has strongly angered international leaders. Here to tell you about it, I'm Carl Azuz. This is CNN Student News. They were warned not to do it, but on Sunday morning, North Korea tested a long-range rocket and said it succeeded in putting a satellite into orbit. The U.S. military said the rocket actually failed to do that, but either way, the launch itself disregarded a United Nations resolution, an international rule that says North Korea isn't allowed to test out missiles. Why? Because of international concerns about its military programs. North Korea is a communist country under the iron rule of dictator Kim Jong-il. The government has spent a fortune on its massive military, but relies on international help to feed many of its people. For years, six-party talks involving 6 countries, including America, have worked to stop North Korea's nuclear program. Now, the international community is considering how to deal with North Korea's behavior. The United Nations Security Council held an emergency meeting yesterday afternoon. Reporting on how American officials responded, here's Barbara Hall.
A 4:30 a.m. wake-up call for President Obama in the Czech Republic. Alerted by aides, North Korea had carried through with its rocket launch. Condemnation came swiftly.
North Korea broke the rules once again by testing a rocket that could be used for long-range missiles.
The president, who spoke out against weapons proliferation during a speech in Prague, also called for the international community to stand together to oppose the rocket launch. North Korea, led by the reclusive Kim Jong-il, says the rocket had a communications satellite and that the satellite made it to orbit. NORAD and the U.S. Northern Command, however, disputed the claim, saying the first stage of the rocket landed in the Sea of Japan, and the rest of the rocket, along with its payload, hit the Pacific Ocean. One expert who has followed the trajectory of Pyongyang's missile technology is still concerned.
They are continuing to advance in their ranges, and I think that's why it's important that we have the ability to defend against these types of threats.
Heading up the diplomatic front, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton has also reportedly been keeping in touch with key allies in the region. I'm Barbara Hall, reporting from Atlanta.
Residents in the upstate New York town of Binghamton are trying to recover from a tragedy that struck late last week. Authorities aren't exactly sure why a gunman attacked a civic association on Friday, killing 13 people before turning the gun on himself. But police say they are sure they did everything they could to respond to the situation. Binghamton Mayor Matthew Ryan says his community is a good one and that it would come together and heal.
See if you can ID me. I'm an international group that was formed in 1949. My 26 member nations are from North America and Europe. My goals include keeping international peace and security. I'm NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization.
One place where NATO wants to achieve peace, Afghanistan. During a weekend meeting, NATO members came out in support of the new U.S. strategy for Afghanistan, commit more peacekeeping troops, train the country's military and police, and get more civilian workers there who can help rebuild Afghanistan. Now, Suzanne Malveaux takes us to the site of the NATO meeting where bridges were built.
The United States came here to listen, to learn, and to lead.
President Obama went into the NATO summit with relatively low expectations.
This was not a pledging conference.
So not surprisingly, he left quite pleased after getting concrete commitments from NATO allies to contribute to the beefed-up mission in Afghanistan.
I am pleased that our NATO allies pledged their strong and unanimous support for our new strategy.
3,000 new NATO forces to help provide security leading up to Afghanistan's fall elections. 2,000 additional NATO troops will make up small teams to mentor and train Afghan army units, and a small contingency to also train Afghan police. Some of President Obama's biggest critics before the NATO summit ended up becoming his biggest supporters, including Germany and France.
This concept is now going to be implemented 100% with our new strategy on Afghanistan.
This union between Europe and the United States is starting to bear fruit.
Obama was also asked about a controversial new Afghan law signed by President Hamid Karzai.
I think this law is abhorrent, but I also want people to understand that the first reason we are there is to root out Al-Qaeda so that they cannot attack members of the alliance.
Earlier in the day, NATO leaders marked the 60th anniversary of the alliance, as well as France's return as a full member. The leaders of France and Germany met in the middle of a bridge connecting their two countries to show solidarity. Ceremonies recognized the fallen and welcomed new members Albania and Croatia.
Okay, now back across the Atlantic. We're talking about you and we're talking about college. Reggie recently wrote in our blog that he gave up his dream of leaving the state for college so that he could help his family if they get hit by the recession. College costs are definitely on your mind, you high school juniors and seniors. So Josh Levs interviews an expert on how to offset some of those costs by winning yourself a scholarship.
Let's talk about these scholarships. How do you find, what's the best way to find scholarships?
There are three ways. One is a good free internet service. The second is to look locally, and the third is through your college.
Well, let's break those down. Free internet service, where do they look?
They look through a service. There are several available. Fastweb.com, Peterson's, the College Board are examples of services that are free, that keep your information confidential unless you release it, and notify you later if they add a scholarship for which you're eligible.
Okay, and we're showing these web pages, but I'm going to emphasize what you said. Only work with a free one, not one you have to pay for.
That's right.
Tell us about this idea.
Sure.
Look locally.
Talk with your guidance counselor. Talk with the places that the student or the parent work. Look at organizations like Rotary and Kiwanis, and at religious organizations, your mosque, your synagogue, your church. All of those are examples of local entities that will offer scholarships, and you want to be sure you cover that base too.
And these are things that for someone who lives in that town or is a member of a specific group, there might be some money out there to pay for college wherever you go.
That's exactly right. And don't let the amounts dissuade you. A $500 scholarship pays for half of your books for a year. That may sound like small, but that can be really valuable in keeping down your loans or making it a little less necessary to work while you're a student. And also the colleges to which you'll apply will have every interest in you getting scholarships that they know about. The biggest way that people miss scholarships, though, is missing deadlines. It isn't that scholarships go unused, it's that students fail to apply or fail to apply on time. So in the scholarship business, that's the most important component to keep in mind.
Our last story today keeps the focus on students. There are people who are going to tell you that duct tape can fix anything. Don't let them work on your car. But do consider this: fixing up for the prom with a dress painstakingly tailored entirely from tape. Our affiliate KTXA in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas brought us a story of a truly lasting bond.
Doing strange things and a little different is always fun, and to be able to make something with my hands, it's just exciting.
It's a lot of fun.
I'm always finding something to do with duct tape. It fixes everything, and you never know when something could happen and you just need a roll of duct tape. There's been many times where people turn to me, they're like, "Amanda, where's the duct tape?" And so to make my prom dress, I'm like, wow, that's big. I do enjoy going to banquets and dressing up nice, but to me, I'm going to prom just for the duct tape, really. As far as I know, nobody else has knit with duct tape.
I offered to go with her and to make my own suit. I didn't know at all how much work it would entail.
I was really there with her when my friend mentioned Stuck at the Prom. I saw Amanda's eyes light up and I was like, oh no, I know what the future holds.
Somehow we thought, I wonder if one could knit with duct tape. And so I pulled out some and tried it because I always carry a roll in my purse. And so I was thinking, oh, let's try this. And it worked. And I was like, whoa.
I love it. Whoa, that's so cool.
I think it came out wonderful, yeah. I almost think it came out better than our drawings.
And we have a feeling those two will definitely stick together. Yeah, okay, it was painful, but probably not as painful as changing clothes would be. Back tomorrow, I'm Carl Azuz.